friends, and welcome to Like Anime, the anime podcast you are currently listening to. But don't stop listening to it. Keep listening to it. We got Tony here on the mic in the house.
You said that last week, the podcast that you're currently listening to.
I think I actually skipped it last week.
Is that
I
our
said
new...
the two previous.
Oh, okay. Is that our new tagline?
That's one of them.
Okay.
You know, I like it. It's very, sets the bar at a appropriate level, I think.
Okay.
Because it's true.
Yeah. I mean,
They're
it is.
hearing it.
It's true.
And you are hearing this.
So someone is probably, yeah. You there. Yeah, you. You hearing this? Yeah, I thought so.
You
See?
like what you're hearing? Maybe.
Don't answer that. You don't have to.
Maybe if we talk about some dang anime.
I don't even know how long we've been talking about anime. Because there's a timer on the screen that you failed to start. Yay,
Neglected to start? You have to go fail. You have to go with these harsh words. I feel triggered.
I don't know, neglected sounds worse than
really?
failed.
I don't know, failure is so final.
I
don't know. I don't know, Tony.
I mean, I'm
a snowflake.
You can fail through no fault of your own, but neglecting, that implies that it is totally your fault.
It is.
You neglected it. I mean, you take ownership of the failure if you want, but that's not on me.
Neglect has the connotation that you can, recover from it. Failure doesn't always.
I don't know.
To me.
I mean, it's probably good you don't have children, because if you neglect them, I don't know if you can recover from it.
They will be in therapy later,
or they'll die.
Well, yeah. There's different levels of neglect, I suppose.
Yeah. So you can't always recover from neglect.
I'll tell you what we don't neglect around here, and that is coming to you weekly with fresh, hot anime opinions on this here podcast that you're listening to. Once again, I circle back.
Yeah, good job. And now, before we actually circle back, is it worse to neglect your children or to fail to keep them alive? Which one sounds worse?
I mean, we will get to some neglect when we talked about My Hero Academia a little later.
He's bringing it back again. He's not answering me. I'm just trying to say.
No, I hear you. You. I'm just saying failure sounds final. It isn't. It isn't. But it sounds more harsh to me.
Yeah, I'm the opposite, I think, between failure and neglect.
Well, get in the comments. We're going to do a poll.
Yeah, and we'll have all 0 fans answer the poll.
Maybe this will be more open-ended of like, well, I didn't watch either of those or any of those things. But failure and neglect, anyone can chime in on that.
Yeah, did our fans fail to respond to our polls, or did they neglect to respond to the poll?
Yes, because they had a clear duty. If you listen to the very tail end of last week's episode, you'll know that Tony gave a heartfelt plea backed with a minor threat for y'all to vote and comment, like, and subscribe. And we actually did get 1 subscriber since last week.
Did we? Nice. Hey, thanks.
So I guess we stand corrected. But yeah, we have some summer anime kind of wrapping up here. And some of it's painful. A lot of it's painful for me. And there's some things Tony didn't even watch for various reasons. We can get into that. But I'd rather hear about a show from the 80s called Dirty Pair.
What about it?
I don't know. I've never really seen it. I mean, I've seen like an episode or
that's
here or
a
there.
failure on your part that you have neglected to watch it.
I can have both of them.
I'm just going to keep doing this for the whole show. I can't help it.
Oh my God.
Dirty Pair. Yeah, I did watch quite a bit of Dirty Pair this week because you mentioned that there's a Kickstarter where they're doing a new dub of it, and it made me want to watch it again. It's one of my favorite shows. So yeah, I just started watching it again.
Yeah, after recording last week, I was reading out loud all the what are they called? The stretch goals.
Yeah.
Of the Kickstarter, because I think it's still probably going. But probably for not much longer. But yeah, it's been accruing a bunch of money, getting surround sound mixes for Dirty Pair and whatnot.
If you want to get a 5.1 dub of Dirty Pair for the low cost of what, $160 or something like that to get the Blu-ray. There's a Kickstarter for you.
But yeah, I think with that one you get everything though, like all the Dirty Pair
Yeah,
stuff.
I think the lowest level to get the Blu-rays was 135 or something.
Really? I thought it was.
Yeah, no, that was the lowest.
I thought there was like a cheaper one where you just got like the main series, and then there was like more expensive ones where you got like everything.
The only thing I saw that included the Blu-ray, or the lowest thing that I saw that included the Blu-rays was 135. I'm pretty sure.
Maybe those had a limited quantity or something.
Yeah,
but,
maybe, I don't know.
But yeah, Dirty Pair. It's a classic 80s anime. I know that.
Yep.
Starring two lovely ladies in
lovely angels, in fact.
Oh, they're angels.
Well, they're not. They're just, that's the name of their team.
Oh, okay.
They're the Lovely Angels, but everyone calls them the Dirty Pair.
Codename Angels.
Codename Lovely Angels. Yeah.
Oh, well, Lovely Angels.
Lovely Angels.
I didn't know if that was your embellishment.
Oh, no, that's their name.
Nice.
Kay and Yuri, Lovely Angels, work for the 3WA, the World Welfare Works Association, I think. I can't remember exactly what it stands for.
Okay.
Or what is it? Women's World Wrestling Association. No, that's just, never mind.
And it's like
so that's what it was sort of based on.
They're wrestlers in space.
They're not wrestlers,
and they're more like luchadors. That's right.
No,
and they have superpowers.
Not so much in the anime, but in the book, yeah, a little bit more.
Light novel,
sort of superpower, light novel. Yeah.
Okay, is that the OG
or novels anyway? Yeah, that's the original.
Nice.
Yeah.
Have you read any of that?
I have read some of it. Yes. Not all of it.
Okay.
I have the English versions of both books, but I haven't finished even the first one. I finished, some of the chapters because there's like sub chapters, separate stories and stuff.
Okay.
And there's some resemblance between some of it and things that happen in the anime, but yeah, they have like more of a psychic superpower thing in the books than they really do in the anime.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is it more, I mean, either or with the books or the show, is there like a main story, or is it more like episodic kind of, enemy of the week kind of thing?
Case
of the week.
It's case of the week sort of thing, I guess. Yeah.
Right on. So it's just a comfy world. I don't know.
Yeah,
you like revisiting because you're not a big rewatcher too, which is
that's true.
And I know you love Dirty Pair, so I'm not surprised that you rewatched it. But
I do prefer new things in general. But between last season and this season of anime, I had to go all the way back to the 80s to find something to watch that didn't make me want to hurt myself or others. More hurting others than myself, to be honest.
Oh, yeah, I'm more myself. I'm more myself.
Yeah.
That's why we're a good match for the podcast. You do the math. Well, right on. I'd like to check out Dirty Pair. And speaking of that, I mean, there's.
How much money did you give them?
I didn't.
Did you not?
I didn't pledge. No.
Oh, I figured you probably did.
I thought about it, but it was like kind of a high. I remember. Maybe you're right with the 130 or whatever, but I remember the price point was pretty high, and I was like, for a thing I've never seen. And also, we've talked about before, but I used to have a ridiculously large. I mean, I'm sure other people have larger anime collections, but I had a pretty large anime collection, most of which I had never seen. And so I have a history of buying anime that I've never seen. So I try to check myself these days, but yeah, it's streaming and stuff, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's on Crunchyroll, subbed.
Okay.
I don't know if so there's been a couple different dubs over the years.
And maybe that's why they're redubbing it.
It's just to get more money out of people, I think, really. It's been dubbed twice. Maybe the original dub was bad, and so they decided to redo it, and now they're doing it again so that they can do a 5.1 dub or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I know they're getting a lot of the original dub casts and stuff.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I guess.
If you're into that thing.
If you're into dubs.
But I will say, when we were talking about Retro Crush, I think you watched some... Or no, it was Project A-ko, wasn't it?
Yeah, Project A-ko.
I confused. Another one I haven't seen. I actually did pre-order that from Discotech because I want to see it, but it was only like $20, so it's a lot cheaper than what Dirty Pair was. But I always confuse those in my head for some reason. They're both 80s, starring ladies, action-y kind of thing, and yeah, I've never seen them. So
Yeah, nothing else about the Dirty Pair. But since we're just talking about random stuff, we had talked about going to the Animation is Film Festival, which is in Los Angeles. But due to scheduling conflict, we couldn't go. But they were kind enough to send us screeners for a couple of movies that were shown. And we're going to try and watch them in the coming weeks and months. And,
Yeah. None of the highly anticipated ones.
Yeah, we couldn't. I mean, there's no screener available for. Well, there might be. We'd have to contact G Kids, I guess, to get a screener for Bell or for Pompo the Cinephile.
Okay.
Which were the big ones that we really wanted to see.
Yes.
But there's a couple other ones that, I mean, at least one that I was looking forward to seeing.
I'm curious. Yeah. They're both Japanese, like anime. Films.
So we'll probably be covering some of that in the future. I just wanted to shout out Anime is Film Festival for, being so kind.
Yeah, that was really cool. And it was on my end, trying to get work covered to get to that, and it just did not line up. It's kind of short notice. Once we found out it was a go.
Right. Yeah. We had contacted them pretty soon after the festival was announced that it was going to actually be in person, and it took them a little while to get back to us. And by that time, we just couldn't make things come together.
And then cut to like a couple days ago, me going through my Twitter feed and seeing photo op with like Mamoru Hosoda, who was there.
Oh yeah, I knew he was going to be there. I don't think I told you that, but
I didn't realize that.
We literally probably could have interviewed him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like, geez, that would have been so cool.
That would have been cool.
So that's regrettable, but
stupid work that pays my bills, or pays your bills, I mean. But I was speaking as you.
Yes, yeah. Stupid work. I don't have the kind of job where I can just like call in sick guilt free. So, but I really tried. I got everything covered except one day, a Saturday, which is like the most important.
Can you do anything guilt free?
Me personally?
Yeah.
Not really.
So you could call in sick, but.
Well, yeah, but it's just, some jobs are more lenient, or more, it's not as big of a deal if you call in,
Right.
All jobs are important. I'm not saying that they're not, but like some jobs, it's like, you don't, someone doesn't need to be at your desk, or whatever, for that day,
If you call in sick, people might die. That's what you're saying.
No, if I call in sick, my coworkers are going to have to like pick up the slack. It's not like they can be like, oh, he's just not here today. So I'm putting it on them, really, is the issue. That's where the guilt comes from, of like,
I see.
It's my work family that I'm like,
I mean,
sacrificing.
It's the same thing that happens if I call in sick.
But also imagine
everyone else.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah. But it's funny too, because my dad was like, just call in. But he told me this after I had already reached out to every single one of my coworkers.
It's a lot more difficult at that point. Yeah.
It's like and I told them about the festival. I was trying to like, win them over, but with what it was for. And they were all busy or working already. And but then cut to do that, and then cut to like, oh, that same weekend I'm sick.
See, that's why, when you're calling them and they say that they can't cover it, and then you just sort of throw in, oh yeah, I might have diarrhea that weekend. That way they know what's coming.
Yeah, the diarrhea is coming.
Right.
I'll do whatever it takes to have diarrhea.
You'll make sure that you have diarrhea so that your excuse is not fake.
That's the only way I can get out of the guilt.
It's not like, these people getting these fake vaccine cards so they can go to concerts.
Yeah, that's got to stop. Wow. That's, boy, howdy, am I riled up?
You're going to cut this out.
No, I'm leaving it. It's topical, man.
All right. Shall we talk about more anime? Or?
Yeah.
All right.
It was my intent to derail there, so I'm happy we did.
I went with it.
I'm glad.
Further and further down the rabbit hole.
I want to do more of that, just, lighthearted riffing. But today there is kind of more of a purpose, because we're both kind of dreading talking about some of this stuff.
I mean, some of it, not the first thing we have up. I mean,
that's true.
The first thing up is
it's a bit mixed for me, but we'll get to. It's not all bad.
But you're not dreading it.
No, I'm not dreading it.
Not like some of the other stuff.
I ordered the list on purpose so that we end on something happy.
Start on something not unhappy and end on something happy.
Yeah.
And in the middle is a shit show.
Yep.
Yep. All right. Well, let's get it going. So, Komi Can't Communicate. It is on Netflix, and it's coming out 2 weeks behind the Japanese release of it on Netflix. So it kind of got a late start, and we both managed to watch the first episode of it. And what'd you think?
So, Tony,
Yeah.
you think the weather today is pretty good, huh?
I mean, it's okay.
I was just hoping you would say, "Yep." It's one of the exchanges in, in the show.
I don't remember that.
Well, yeah, that's what it's later on. We'll get to it.
I do remember the weather thing.
Oh, okay, yeah. It's just like,
but I don't think that wasn't spoken out loud, was it?
no, but
No, okay.
but yes, this episode was writing on the chalkboard.
Yeah, there was some of that.
A lot of it.
I honestly think I read the first chapter of this manga because like it all seemed so familiar.
Oh, okay,
like the
you were
setup
like
and stuff.
already.
Like I think I had heard of it like a while ago, and I think I read the first chapter, back then.
And clearly, this is a popular manga because this already had like a lot of hype leading up to it coming out, for the anime coming out. But yeah, I wasn't familiar with it, so this is my first impression. I had a mixed reaction because I identify with the subject matter of social anxiety, and I feel like half of this episode is handling that in a sweet, tender way, but then the other half is like this zany, wacky characters and just like overly over the top, going for that just over the top wacky school comedy kind of thing.
Are you sure you didn't like fall asleep watching it and then wake up and think you were watching the same thing, but it was a different show?
No, I watched it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just checking because it doesn't sound like my impression of it.
Really?
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, we got different takes on it.
Wacky, zany. All right.
Well, yeah, just in the beginning when we're introduced to it's mostly the other characters. So we have this main character, Komi, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she can't communicate, as the title would suggest. But we learn that it's, and you could tell this from the trailer, but that it's social anxiety. It's not in literal inability to speak.
Right.
Yeah. And so
no physical impairment to her.
Yeah.
Ability to speak.
Yeah.
Right.
And we see in the first half that she has a lot of weird behaviors whenever someone tries to talk to her, and there's a lot of like weird sound effects. I kept thinking of like a crab like walking across, like running across the beach. It's like when she like gets all frozen and she starts to shake. It's like, and that stuff is cute. I wasn't, that didn't turn me off necessarily, but it was like all the other classmates and stuff, so like they're introducing each other, themselves. They don't go through every person in the class, but like we see a few of them, and they're all just like turned up to 11. And it really just threw me off of like the tone of the show. I felt like it was kind of a mismatch of, this Komi character. And I didn't mention the other guy, our straight man is this, I forget his name, but
is this Hito or something like that?
Yeah, I forget. I always do this on first episodes, or I'm like,
it was I remember it sort of standing out because like Hito is person in Japanese, and I think his name is person basically.
Person.
He's just I don't know, but I might be misremembering it. I can't remember. And
his whole thing is that in the beginning he's like, all right, I'm starting high school and I'm gonna read the room and I'm not gonna make any waves. And then he runs into her in they have lockers next to each other and have this awkward exchange, and she doesn't say anything, and Crab walks away. That's just the sound. And then finds out, and I could already tell, I could see this coming a mile away at this point, that he's going to be sitting next to her, like playing his day.
I mean, they set that up, yeah.
Yeah. Immediately, it was, for me, I was just like, okay. And then he does, and oh my God, he's making waves now because he's sitting next to this girl who's like quiet and mysterious, and all the other, the whole class, and I guess the whole school, he has said at one point, is just enamors her and like kind of puts her on a pedestal maybe, and she doesn't talk, so they misjudge her. And this is stuff that I think is true to life. I have personal experience with this, where it's like, especially when you're in a school setting and you're quiet and kind of have this, people, put stuff on you, they kind of project of like what you're like, it's like if you wear glasses in school, growing up, people automatically think you're smart, like, wow, you must have straight A's. And it's a similar thing if you're the quiet kind of brooding type. there's some mystery and intrigue.
Everyone thinks you're super cool, and you become the most popular person in class without saying a
Saying a
word.
single word, yeah.
Oh, well,
And then you
I
just
didn't know that's what your high school life was like, George.
well, no, I mean that wasn't the case. I mean, because that's the thing, right? And we see some of this. And the stuff I like about this is where you see the disconnect where in the latter half of the episode, there's this very sweet exchange of this our main character and Komi communicating through the blackboard, just the two of them in their classroom. He falls asleep and catches her mumbling to herself, like, "Oh, you can talk," and then it's this whole thing. But then we learn that she has this poor self-image. She has self-loathing, and she thinks people hate her because she can't talk, and so her perception of what people think of her is the exact opposite of what other people think. And that is, I was not the most popular person in high school, but I was way more well liked than I thought I was because I was so in my head.
I was going to say maybe you were the most popular person in high school and you just didn't think that you were.
It could be. I was voted most unique in senior year, but I wasn't voted like prom king or anything, like homecoming king like that. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not most unique is kind of like a backhanded compliment. So I was definitely known. I guess that's but yeah, I don't know. What did you think of this? Because clearly it was familiar, but you had a different take on it as a whole.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was cute. Like, Komi is designed to be one of those female characters that you just, you want to help her, just like our main character does,
Yeah.
He's like,
yeah,
I don't know.
But respectfully so. He's not like,
yeah, he's not like creeping on her or anything.
He's not simping or anything.
It's just, it's set up in a way that, yeah, I don't know. I just wish her character wasn't written as that meek character that, he's going to have to take care of for the whole show, basically. That was sort of the part that bothered me. But I mean, I completely fall for that crap too, like in this show, even like, yeah, she is. And it's like, oh, she's so cute and she can't talk to anyone. And he's so nice to her and, all that stuff. But then like after watching the episode, thinking about it, I was like, I don't know, it's kind of a crappy, lazy character design. But
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see where it goes, I guess.
That's what has me torn. I'm like, is it just like a comedy, or are they actually going to dig into her character and her mindset? And they gave a little bit of that kind of stuff in this first episode, but that's what I would like more of like a, I don't want to say completely serious, but a more grounded kind of drama about, because there was even a part at the end where this voiceover comes in, and it's like a lady, and she's just saying like social anxiety is, affects a lot of people, and just kind of like giving the intent that they're treating it with care and that they want to kind of examine that, that specific topic. But then there's just other things, like nothing pervy and nothing. It's just like the tonal shift of me of going like wacky, classroom hijinks to like, to like tender moments of, vulnerability was just a little much. But it's just the first episode. I'm gonna watch more. I'm not dismissing this. I like it and I want it to dig deeper, but I'm just not sure if it's going to.
I mean, honestly, it's probably one of the best shows of the season, despite my complaints about it thus far.
Not saying much.
Right. Despite my complaints, it is one of the best shows of the season, which explains why I watched a lot of Dirty Pair this week.
Fair enough. Yeah, I liked it. It's really gorgeous. It's got this like nice color palette, really like cool sheen to it. Like it's very nice to look at.
It does look nice, yeah.
And the Komi stuff is really cute. Like she's either very like I said, like mysterious and brooding, and everyone's like, oh, she's so pretty, and or it's cutting from that to like when someone's trying to talk to her and she gets all nervous, like she goes all bug-eyed and just like, it's just so cute. It's like the anime like simple expression, but like you get that in Fruits Basket and stuff. Toru's like got spiral eyes or something or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
So it's kind of like that. And so I like that stuff, but I'm like, if they're only going to just gag it out, versus like, have like a narrative about her journey. I guess that's what worries me too. Like you were saying, like our main character technically is this guy who is kind of milk toasty. Like there's not much going on with him. Like he's sweet and he's nice and he's not pervy and he's not like a complete self-insert character, but he's also, we don't really know anything about him aside from his relationship to her.
Right. Yeah. What was I going to say? I don't know. Yeah, it's okay. It's a fine show, like many shows that, I don't know. I'm expecting that it's just going to be the comedy, high school comedy thing.
Okay.
For the most part. I don't think it's ever going to get real serious. Yeah.
Fair enough.
And I think he is a self-insert character, basically, who, because they want you to sort of feel like,
it's like the white knight thing, right?
Right. Yeah. Like, oh, this beautiful girl, but she needs my help. And, like the whole point of it is apparently he's going to help her get 100 friends because she said that was what her. So,
which reminds me of a anime I think I brought up a couple seasons ago, but Bigata HK. And it's about this high school girl who has never really been with anyone, like relationship wise. And she's going to like date 100 guys before she graduates. And so it reminded me of that. And it's a very sweet, funny show. But it doesn't, and I like that show. I haven't seen it in a long time, but it isn't handling like, a topic like social anxiety, in like a high school setting, which is kind of a tender thing to me. Like a lot of people struggle with that, and even outside of high school. But so I don't know. We'll see. I'll keep watching it. All right. Well, if you're any listeners who read the manga, let us know. I mean, no spoilers, but let us know if weigh in on this. Is it just a gaggy comedy thing, or is it something more, something else, something deeper?
All right, so that's probably enough, Komi.
Yeah,
communicate.
Good old Komi. Yeah, we can move on. And we're downhill from here, folks. I'm just going to continue to rag on things.
We're moving on to the best show of summer 2021.
Potentially. I'm going to rag on.
Potentially, with 3 episodes having. Sorry, we watched, I guess we shouldn't shout him out by name or anything, but we watched someone on YouTube that indicated that this show might be the best show of the year, I think he said.
And that was, it was pretty early on. I think it was like 4 episodes in or something like that.
Yeah, 3 or 4 or something. Yeah, before it really, flipped itself over.
And Tony dropped this a while ago. And I was considering it. I was enjoying it up until a point. But yeah, I guess I should set it up. Fena, Pirate Princess, Crunchyroll, Adult Swim original.
Co-production, yep.
Yeah, and it's gorgeous. I forget who the director is, but he did the animation in Kill Bill, which is really great. Linkin Park music video, Break the Habit from years ago, whatever. But yeah, he's definitely legit, and it's a really gorgeous show. And that's those are the positives. No, it's got good music, and the animation, is good. And I'm trying to think of other.
You haven't said anything about the story yet, George. Why are you avoiding talking about the story?
The story. So yeah. So this show, I mean, I'd already talked to this before, but like the main character, Fena, my main issue is that she's just underwritten. Like she's not. I don't really know who she is. The parts of the show that I liked are eventually, I mean, she's essentially like a orphan who was, had these memories of being torn from her family on a pirate, from a pirate ship or from a ship, not really a pirate ship, but she doesn't really remember anything about her past, one of those characters, and then meets up with these people who are from her past, and they don't know everything, but they know she's the key to this thing, and they got to do the stuff, and we're going. It's an adventure. And when they finally get on that adventure, I like it. Like they're on the ship, and it's all these like they're not really pirates; they're more like ninjas on the sea.
Pirate ninjas, yeah.
Pirate ninjas. I don't know why you guys are making that face at me. But yeah, so these pirate ninjas and her, they start to bond or whatever. And I never really like got hooked with the emotional like. Oh, I care about her plight, or I never really cared about like the mystery they were trying to solve of where she comes from and why she's important and her past and all that. But I liked when she was on the ship and they were training her how to use a bow and arrow, and they were just goofing off and going to different village, different islands and stuff. And
Mm.
I kind of like that for a spell. And then at a certain point, she gets kidnapped, and then we learn all this other stuff. There was this guy who fell in love with her mom, yada yada, and now they look similar, so he like kind of loves her, but then she's the key to this thing to get to Eden, and he's telling her that the pirate ninjas are bad, he's the good guy, and then the pirate ninjas save her, and then all of a sudden she just kind of there's this song she remembers from when she's a kid, and the song has all these clues in it that just once she figures it out, it just unlocks all the secrets.
Mm.
And from that's like maybe 3/4 of the way through. So it's like at that point, like it's a matter of just like, oh, I know where to go. We go here. And now that we're on this island, we go down this place, and oh, I know what to do next. And it's like so boring at that point, where it's like, I know what we're doing. But mind you, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. It's so pretty, you guys. But yeah, so that was my main issue. It's like by the time you get to the end, it's like this apocryphal thing, and I will spoil it in a minute, but it's this whole like big thing, big reveal, but it doesn't feel that way. It just feels really empty and like I don't care. But essentially, what we learn is that Fena is from a descendant of a lineage of royalty, and each descendant, I guess, is at some point these memories are unlocked within them, and she has these visions of these vestiges, which I learned from My Hero, that word. But yeah, she got these vestiges that are part of the bloodline, and they come and talk to her, and they're like, "You're royalty, and you're being tasked with this decision. You can either end all of humanity and restart." That's what
do that.
That's what the Eden is.
You should do that.
The Eden is like an arc. It's like a modern day arc.
Oh, okay.
And you can do that.
She's totally going to do that, right? She's going to kill everybody?
Well, here's the thing. They tell her, because she's the pirate ninjas, one of them is named Yukimaru, which you hear her say about a million freaking times.
Yukimaru!
Yeah. Dude, I wish I had the time and energy, or maybe even a budget, to make a supercut of every time she says Yukimaru. Ridiculous. And he's not far behind her with Fena. I mean, most of the dialogue is those two names, but yeah. So basically, if she decides to reset humanity, she will have to have whoever's closest to her, opposite sex, so they can procreate, right? It's like literally an Eden thing. Like,
yeah,
who would have been seeing Eden this whole time? Who would have known?
Never would have guessed.
But she decides in the end, so she can either choose to do that or not. And I guess if she yeah, and so she decides not to do it because...
Oh, no, really?
Because she does love Yukimaru, but she loves all the other pirate ninjas too, and she doesn't want to lose them. So you make her too sad to just have Yukimaru and not...
So she's into polygamy?
I don't know if it wasn't like explicitly just a sexual thing.
Yeah, I'm just joking.
But maybe she's like, I've kind of fallen in love with, Yukimaru, but everyone else too. But yeah, so it was just kind of this lame ending where to me, where she chooses not to do it. And so what happens is she sees Yukimaru as like a ghost pretty much. Just like a vision, and then she's like, and more words than this, but she's like, this isn't, I'm gonna forget everything because I'm not gonna reset the world. So that's the transaction, right? Her memory gets wiped, and so the show ends where like she's still there, and she has brown hair now instead of like whitish blonde hair for some reason, and she doesn't remember anything, but she otherwise looks and acts the same, and so they're like, well, come with us, we'll tell you what you missed. And then it ends when her and Yukimaru are like on the ship, and they're at sea, and they're overlooking the ocean, and he goes on this whole thing of like, he says, I care about you, and I'll always be there for you, I'll save you if you're in trouble, and till the day I die. And then he looks away from her and says, I love you. Aishitaru. And then she hits him on the head with this thing she was holding, which is a callback to the beginning when he was hitting her on the head a lot. I thought it was kind of messed up, actually. But then she basically says this comment or she thinks it, I think, but she says like, I've been waiting for this for ages. Meanwhile, she can't remember a freaking thing, but he tells her she loves her, and now she remembers that. Like, I don't know. That's how it ends. That's the last line in the show.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know. There's other.
Sounds like I made the right decision.
You did. You did. It is a really pretty show. Like when they get to the Eden Island and they're going through all that stuff, and then her and Yukimaru break away because she like knows what to do, but they're all caught up with like there's a whole layer of gold and stuff. Remind me of like The Hobbit when they get to what's his name? Smog, yeah, Smog's lair. So they're all distracted with the gold, and the two kind of traipse off together, and the stone pillars like are erected after they do a puzzle thing, and then they climb them, and as they're ascending them, they're getting to the top of part of the island, or it's another dimension. I don't know, but it's this really. I don't know.
Part
man.
of the island, or it's another dimension. I don't know.
Take your pick. But when they're ascending it, it cuts to on top, and it's like you can see the sky and everything, and there's this completely like beautiful reflective surface, and they come up in between that, like in the middle of that reflective surface, but you can't, when you see it, you can't tell that there's like an opening there. So you kind of see them rise, and it just looks really cool. Like it has no impact on the story or anything, but it was stuff like that I really liked. Some cool color design and stuff like that. But yeah, a lot of the character choices, like they did that thing a lot where there was one of the pirate ninjas. When Fena gets kidnapped, they're all like, "We got to go save her," and they're like, "No, we can't. We got to do this other thing." And the main guy is saying that. And then Yukimaru says, "Screw you, I'm leaving." He leaves, and then the rest are like, "Well, we still got to go save both of them now." And then the one guy's like, "No," and then he does that thing where someone makes a speech, and he's like, "Well, all right," and he does that several times. It's frustrating, but anyway, I didn't like the writing, but it was gorgeous. That's all I got.
All right, and that's Fena for you. Didn't like the writing, but it's gorgeous.
I could have just said that, but I'm happy I got through it.
You did say that. You said that like 7 times.
I said it a lot. I wanted to emphasize how pretty it is, because it really is. But to me, I want my anime to look good. You know, when they have bad CG or the character design's just too, I don't know, not too drab or not compelling enough. It kind of loses me. But then when you have a really pretty thing that isn't satisfying story wise, like. That's not much better, but
yeah, I would say it's worse. I think, like if you have the best story, imagine like just the best story that like hits all of the notes that you want it to hit and everything like that. It can look pretty bad, I think, and it's still a good story.
Yeah, it still has that.
It would be disappointing that it looks bad, but it's still good because the story's good. But something that is just pretty, but the story is just lackluster and boring. Well, it's not something you're really necessarily going to remember as much. I guess you'll still remember the prettiness of it. I don't know. I think I'm more the other way. I would rather have a great story that is poorly drawn and animated and stuff.
Yeah, I guess it depends on if it grabs me. That's all it takes, right? But
right.
Yeah, deciding one or the other.
Well, like Kageki Shoujo last season, you said when we watched the trailer, you said, "Oh, I hate this type of character design, this art style," and you, I think, were thinking about not even watching it, possibly.
Yeah,
because of that.
That's true.
Yet somehow, the story grabbed you enough that you sort of just
I checked it out.
Yeah, you don't remember any of those things that you didn't like about the art style or anything like that. It didn't matter anymore. So,
and that was also a case of like watching 20 trailers or whatever and trying to make snap judgments, So that one was the eyebrows, which I did that specifically.
Eyelashes, right?
Eyelashes, yeah. The eyelashes of the main character, were too bushy and thick. But it was it was actually worked into the plot there. Not to great effect, but it was at least contextually like on purpose. But yeah, that's fair enough. And that wasn't like an overall thing. It wasn't like like the shoujo kind of style or anything. It was literally just those eyelashes.
It was just the art style, really. Yeah. Or the style of the eyelashes.
Yes, specifically, yeah. So, but that's a good point. And yeah, you can't judge a book by its cover, I guess. But
I mean, you can, but you just have to expect to be wrong sometimes.
That's true. And I watched Fena, so I maybe regret it, but at least I know that I'm not missing out. Except I had to watch all of it. But there's something in knowing. Sometimes there's a show that's like right on that line. It's hard. Sometimes hard to make that call, and I almost did, and then I was like, well, I'm already this far. As a sunken cost fallacy where I just had to keep going. And then I was like, well, I can talk about it on the podcast.
Yeah.
And now I have.
Job done.
But let's move on, shall we? That was...
All right, and so that's Fena. Looks nice, story meh. Speaking of looks nice, story meh. My Hero Academia.
Meh hero.
Yeah. It's been, I don't know. I haven't enjoyed watching it since like the middle of last season, to be honest with you. Not last season of this season, but like last season?
Yeah.
Season 4, series 4, whatever you call it.
Season 4, yeah.
Yeah, about halfway through that, it kind of lost my interest. And then I caught up on it so that I could watch season 5 for the podcast. And I've been hating it the whole time. And yeah, that's all I got to say. What else? What do you got about it? Got anything you want to say about it?
Way to set it up.
Got anything good you want to say about it? Because I don't have anything good to say about it.
I feel similarly. We've talked about this to death at this point, but we both agree that it just... I mean, one thing that's not helping it is it's being dragged out like to ridiculous lengths. But I said to Tony when we were talking about doing this summer wrap-up episode, I was like, yeah, I'm going to finish My Hero. And he was like, ugh. And I was like, you don't have to. I'm just saying, like, I want to see it through because I like to flagellate myself.
I mean, at that point, I had seen more than you had as
That's
well,
true.
right?
That's true.
I was ahead of where you were.
And you're only 2 episodes away from
I know,
being caught
right?
up, so you're practically there. I'm giving you a pass. I'm just saying, round
I could
up.
just watch those 2 episodes, but I read the synopses online, and I don't.
Yeah, you didn't.
There's
miss
no
much.
reason to watch those.
You didn't miss much. I don't know. What can I say about it? I mean, basically, this latter part was the My Villain Academia mini arc, I guess.
Yeah.
And I liked it. I mean, compared to this whole season 5, like, I found parts of it enjoyable. But as a whole, it was kind of tedious just because, like, you could tell what they're doing. They're just, like, setting up a way to tell all the backstories of the League of Villains that are remaining.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of cool to see it from their perspective. Toga, of course, I think was probably the best for me. I enjoyed seeing more of her and just like, getting a little bit of her backstory and whatnot. And I like what they were going for. They're trying to like, because there were different parts. Because in this, little arc, they go up against this liberation army, which I'm glad I got that right, because in One Piece, which I think this probably nicked it from that, but there's the Revolutionary Army as a, it's like a faction of, rebels, a la Star Wars. This all goes back to that probably, but yeah, this is doing a similar thing where like there's this liberation army and they have like politicians on their side, and they basically want to make quirks just open. No, they don't want any legislation like restricting your quirks. Everyone should be able to just live loud and proud, baby. And they see it fit to take one of the broker of the League of Villains, information guy, hostage, and they get info out of him, and then they use him as leverage to get the League of Villains to come attack. And it's this whole blown out thing to get all their backstories. But then I guess I did like that it sets up this other faction, and then at the end of it, what you probably read the recap for, I'm spoiling it, is they Shigaraki, overpowers them. They win, and so this
Oh, no way, really?
this liberation army
Never would have guessed that was going to happen.
this liberation army like bends the knee essentially,
Mhm.
and so they are combined. I was like, okay, get some behind the scenes of like the enemies and stuff. You asked what
It's funny. I didn't read that in the synopsis. But
Oh, really?
It's completely not surprising.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's what you would imagine. Yeah, none of it. Absolutely none of this season, I think, was that surprising. And that's something we talked about, because the show used to be so good at like doing left turns, like we're doing this training exercise for school, and then holy crap, Shigaraki shows up. Like what?
Right.
And it's been a long time since there's been that level of excitement or tension in the show. So doing this My Villain Academia, I mean, I'm praising it, but it's like still a shadow of the highs that My Hero has reached in the past.
Oh.
But in the context of season 5, I'm like, okay, cool. I get to see more Toga, and like we get Shigaraki's backstory, which is very like try hard, edgy to me. Like, I mean, it's just like the classic thing of like tragic backstory.
Oops, I accidentally murdered my family.
And the dog, man. That's
I mean,
that's,
the dog was the big thing. Yeah,
That's
his family mostly deserved to be murdered, but the dog not so much.
that's a classic. Like, if you kill the dog, I mean, there's no
Yeah.
coming back from that.
Yeah,
You've been assigned.
He John Wicked himself.
yeah. Except, yeah. So, is who's John Wick in this scenario?
He is, because it was his dog, right?
Oh,
Except he's also the one who killed his dog.
He's
That's
his
why I'm
own-
saying he John Wicked
John
himself.
himself.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
nice. Okay. It's a self-contained John Wick
Yeah, right.
experience.
Mm-hmm.
The John Wick experience. Well, it's funny. Yeah. So, and it's just one of those things. Like, oh, it makes sense. He's a big, bad, evil guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish. See, there's a problem with that backstory. Is that the dad is such a jerk? Like, he just like has all these rules about heroes. Can't mention heroes in my house. And then, and we find out his mom was a hero, and she neglected him because, and
Neglected.
she failed
him. He brought it back. All right.
I didn't even mean to. As I was saying neglect, I was like, oh, damn it. I mean, yay. We got continuity, folks. But yeah, so she, was a hero and saving people, and was like, sorry, I don't have time for you. And he has this whole chip on his shoulder about it. But I wish if they would have shown him like being like kind of strict, but then also loving. They showed no, compassion or love or kindness towards his children, especially his son.
Right.
And so by the time like it happened, like he doesn't realize he has this quirk because he had a late onset quirkiness, and so he's been punished for doing hero stuff or talking about heroes again, and so he's out in the back, with the dog in timeout, and he is clutching the dog, crying, and he accidentally kills the dog. And that's very sad. It's not entirely, I'm not dismissing this whole scene because I feel like there is something here that they could have really mined for his backstory. But then his sister he accidentally kills, and his mom. But then by the time his dad's immediate reaction is to grab like some metal pole and like just like attack him. And at that point, little Shigaraki is like, no, I want to kill him, And in that moment, I'm like, yeah, kill him. He sucks because he's just a one note, like, I don't know, crappy dad. But yeah, I feel like they just kind of like,
not too unlike Kyo's dad from Fruits Basket. Just
that's true. Yeah,
just an asshole.
Yep. And so there you go. You raise a Shigaraki, I guess.
Yeah, or Kyo. Kyo didn't turn out bad,
that's
I guess.
True.
But
Kyo's, but Kyo had I guess Shigaraki's mom was you could tell she cared, and she was just like, why are you doing this?
Yeah, I guess so. Kyo had a good mentor, and Shigaraki.
Oh, that's true.
Not so much.
Post like
right.
Yeah, clashing with his family. Yeah, he had someone that really truly cared about him.
Right.
And yeah. That's true. Much different. Two different senseis there.
Yeah, very different.
But that being said, it's like it makes sense that Shigaraki would have this type of backstory, but I wish if they're gonna do it, like, and I know you've only seen a little bit of One Piece, but it's like, and I hate to bring it up, but I've been
no, you don't.
I've been spoiled by them because I'm not gonna say every backstory in One Piece is just like amazing and tear jerking, but like time and time again, Eiichiro Oda has like written these incredible backstories, and like when they start, it's like, oh great, we're getting a backstory, and by the end of it, I'm completely won over by so many of them. Like his batting average with it is incredible for me personally, but with this show, my hero, which is definitely, in the wake of One Piece, it's like must be inspired by it. I feel like any shonen action it must take some inspiration from it, just because it's
Probably, yeah.
such a long-standing beast at this point. But and there's a reason for it. It's so good. But yeah, I feel like they just kind of whiffed it, where it's just like, yep, tragic. No sympathy for the dad. He sucked. It's just like, okay, like whatever. So yeah, I had some good things in there you asked about, but
Okay.
but overall, yeah, it's disappointing. I don't know. I've been saying I want to read the manga, but I don't even know if I want to at this point.
Yeah, I don't know. At least with the manga, it's so far ahead that you could, skip past the boring parts, or just, I don't know.
Yeah.
You can skim it.
Well, the parts that
You can't really skim a show the same way. I guess you could just play it on double speed.
Yeah, that's true. But it's like they're dragging stuff out, which a lot of these shonen action shows tend to do over time. But yeah, when you're reading it, it goes a lot faster when they're not stretching it out,
Right.
But when they are, it's like breeze through all of this. So yeah, that's a good point. Because I've thought about it. Like if I'm gonna read it, I'm like, do I start at the beginning? Do I just go to where I'm at now? Will I appreciate the stuff that's happened in the last season or two if I read it all, or will I just pick up from where we are now and just be like, I still don't care?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough call. Would reading like this season's worth of manga chapters be better than this season was?
Yeah,
probably.
You think so? Yeah, just with.
But I don't know, because all the story already. It might, it might not have the impact that it could have had. I don't know. I just assume that there's more there. There's a little bit more there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't read any of it, so I don't know.
Me neither. But yeah, I think we're probably good on that.
Okay, well then, speaking of having not read it and don't know, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid S.
So this is only on this list, so I can mention it quickly.
I just mentioned it. Are we done?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this season isn't as good as the first.
Okay.
There's a couple good laughs. There's a couple heartfelt moments that stick.
There's a couple big-breasted girls.
Well, yeah, I'm talking about positive.
Oh. Some people would consider that
and there's
positive.
several moments of like cuteness, like just sweet, earnest scenes of heartwarming, dragons and humans getting along after all these years. But no, it has its attributes, but the first season was a heck of a lot funnier. And I think the second season turned up the perviness, or not the perviness, but like I guess there's perviness to an extent, but it's just kind of like window dressing of like these characters have their quirks, and it's kind of a gag at this point. This big-breasted lady dragon is gonna hit on this younger boy, have like a Shota complex or whatever, and he's going to blush and yell at her, repeats. So I don't know, it's one of those shows we talked about, like some people have a show like this and you make that call, like, do I put up with that side of it for the comedy or the humor, the sweetness, the story, or whatever, the characters, or is it too much? Or maybe you like it. I don't know. That's another aspect too.
So maybe they didn't dial up the perviness. They just dialed down the things that you cared about.
That could be.
Could be the same perviness, just less of the other stuff that I don't know.
Yeah, no, that could be. I mean, they added a character who, had pervy scenes. Not every scene was pervy, but so that definitely added to that stuff. But yeah, I don't know. It's like it'd just be so much better without it, and yeah. So 6 out of 10.
All right, that sounds generous, but okay. Then I guess the last thing we have to talk about from last season is Aquatope.
On White Sand.
Yeah, the Aquatope on White Sand, I believe it is.
Ooh.
This one's... Wait, I'm confused now. This one's continuing?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay, all right.
And
I was thinking that Fena was too, but Fena's done?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's done.
I don't know. I'm all mixed up.
I think that's why when I started, this past week watching Fena, I was like, oh man, the whole thing's gonna be out by the time we record. So I was like, might as well finish it. But yeah, Aquatope, you caught up on summer, and I watched the first episode of fall.
Yeah.
So I think I'm just one ahead of you.
Yes, you are one ahead of me. So yeah, what happens in these episodes? I don't know. Like, when did we last cover it? I don't know.
Yeah, it's been a while, but I mean, generally this first season, because that's why I kept getting confused of like, we're trying to save this aquarium
Yeah.
in what's it called, Okinawa.
Yeah.
And the Gama Gama Aquarium, and these two girls, their paths cross, and they are unified by Kukuru's dream, and so they set out on trying to keep it open. But spoilers, in the end, they are not able to. And I kept thinking, we knew it was 26 episodes or whatever, so I kept thinking like, it looks dire now, but they're gonna turn it around. But I kind of liked how this worked, because there's not a whole lot to talk about, I don't think, but essentially they stuck to it in this first half of the season of, nope, it's closing. Like, you tried your best, and I like that they committed to that disappointment or that failure to keep it open.
But not due to neglect.
That's true. They tried many things and were steadfast, but yeah, it just wasn't happening.
Yeah. So that's pretty much as far as I watched was it's closing. So then after it, what's her name?
The other one,
Kukuru? No, Kukuru.
Kukuru's the blue-haired.
So Kukuru decides she's going to not let it close and locks herself in, and then there's like a tsunami or something. Not a tsunami, but a
crazy storm.
Yeah, crazy storm or whatever. And then Fuka.
Oh yeah,
that's the other one's name.
Nice.
It just came to me.
I was scrambling. I was like, I ain't looking it up either.
She decides that she's going to, make Kukuru let her in so that she can help, take care of all the sea creatures and crap during this storm. And I don't know. And that's like a whole episode about that, basically. And then it comes time for Fuka to leave to pursue her idol career, which had been indicated in previous episodes that she was going to be in this movie or whatever. And
can I say real quick about the storm and everything?
No. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, just real quick, I'm not trying to derail. I like that because because Kukuru was in doubt, because her grandpa kept telling her like, no, there's too much upkeep with the building, and it's been open for so long, like 3 decades or 2 decades, whatever, how long it's been. But that scene was, in service of her realizing, the pipes are falling apart and the storm's breaking all these windows, which
that's true.
is just more of like a coincidence kind of thing. But it was just like, I think that made her come to the terms of, this is the reality, is this probably needs to close.
Yeah.
But I liked it. I liked that scene for that. That's all I was going to add. But.
Yeah. And she really does care about all of the sea creatures that are in the aquarium. Part of it is she has fond memories of the aquarium with her parents and stuff, but she really cares about the sea creatures and doesn't want to see them like leaving or whatever. But yeah, part of it is that she realizes that, the aquarium is kind of run down and falling apart, and that these sea creatures might be better off somewhere else at a more modern facility. So she does kind of come to terms with it.
It's like a maturity, gauge or not gauge, but just test, to can you accept this, and as becoming an adult, like kind of go from there, move on, and I like that.
And then Fuka is, supposed to go back to Tokyo to, work on this movie thing, go back to her idol career or whatever. And she decides not to get on the plane because she knows that Kukuru is, upset about the fact that the aquarium's closing, and she promised to be there for her or something, I guess. So she comes running back out and, finds her and comforts her, and, nothing you wouldn't have expected, I suppose.
Yeah, it was a sweet moment. And I guess the point of that is that Fuka realizes that she cares more about, because she was going to go do the movie thing, but then as she's like getting ready to get on the plane, she imagines how Kukuru must be feeling, now that she's leaving and she's left with her own thoughts and everything that's happening, and she just imagines her like sobbing and being depressed, and so she wants to be there for her instead of doing her thing. But then she ends up getting like a delayed flight, and she can still make it to her hometown, but she's giving up on the movie thing for some reason. I'm not sure why. But yeah, I was kind of confused by that.
Yeah,
It's like, if you can still catch your flight later, can you still do the thing with, I don't know, but you don't want to.
Yeah, I guess. And then I guess the other thing we find out is the thing that had been hinted at for a while now, that Kukuru had a twin sister that I guess actually died in utero.
Yeah, it seemed like that. Yeah, like
Stillborn, basically. Yeah.
only one may survive.
But yeah, so there was there were some hints towards that for, the latter part of this season. There was definitely some hints that was going to be a thing that came about, and it, did. And it wasn't anything spectacular for the story. I mean, yes, I'm sure it had an effect on Kukuru, but
I think it was more like
not so much on us.
Fuka just being like, yeah, like that's, you feel this void in your life because you never knew you had a sister, but our bond is strong now. We've come so, grown so close. Like, I can be your sister,
Right.
It's kind of like better to find out that you had a sister when you have someone like Fuka in your life versus like you don't, and it's just even more, I don't know, which it's more just by design how they wrote it.
Right.
But I guess that's the point of the sentiment of, their relationship. Yeah. So I also didn't feel that, didn't impact me too much, but I assume that's where they, what they were going for, like solidifying that.
I guess. Yeah. I don't know. I found these two episodes kind of fine, but uninteresting.
Yeah.
So how does the second arc, I guess, or the second part of the first season, how does it begin?
So they've moved to Tingarla, wherever that is. I meant to look it up on a map, see where that is in relation to Okinawa.
Is this the aquarium that like offered Kukuru a job? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And not only Kukuru has taken a job there, but
literally everyone else.
The tourism girl.
Oh yeah.
The guy that probably likes Kukuru, and then the guy that doesn't like girls.
Everyone else.
And the other guy who makes ice pops in the freezer.
Yeah, everyone else.
And he gets yelled at for doing that at the new place.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of interesting because it's a huge aquarium, and so there's all this staff, and so I'm kind of intrigued by it. I only watched the first episode just because I had all this other stuff for summer to catch up on. I was like, all right, well, I'm into fall now, with Aquatope, so I might as well catch up on My Hero and also the other crap. I said it.
Did you just call Kobayashi crap?
Yeah, it's fluff, which is
okay.
It's in the ballpark of crap. Less offensive crap. Yeah,
I mean, depends on how much fiber you eat, I guess.
Hold on, I have that calculation right here. Yeah, so I was intrigued to watch more, and essentially I'll give this away, I guess, but Kukuru gets there and it's her first day, and the other people have already started, and I think that makes sense because she was still in school.
She was still in high school,
and the others weren't, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
So she's getting there, and they're already kind of like established, compared to her anyway. And so she's a newbie, and she gets assigned. She's like lined up with a bunch of new hires, and they all get assigned by the guy, the main guy that offered her the job. Her grandpa knows him and all that. And he's going down the line telling what they are, and she gets assigned to marketing and PR. And so it's like a shock. She has to wrap her head around that. Like, I'm not one of the attendants of the aquarium. What the heck is this? And then there's this whole aspect of like, well, you were acting. You were the acting director,
right?
And you were handling all these different things, and so you've proven that you have like a managerial, or you can handle more, like a big picture kind of thing. So I
Mm,
think it's a good opportunity for her, but like she doesn't see it that way, like
right.
at first.
Sounds like her, I guess.
Yeah, she's like, I'm whining, but she's cute. You get a cute whine. I don't disparage her.
Wait, so does Fuka appear in this episode?
No Fuka. I haven't seen
Oh,
Fuka
okay.
yet.
All right.
Because when they leave off at the end of episode 12, it's like, we'll follow our dreams and we'll meet up or something. But yeah, so
Right.
I assume we'll see her again.
I assume so, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know when or how. Maybe she'll just visit or something, or she'll visit and then she'll be like, "Oh, I want to work here too. Every time I come to an aquarium that Kukuru's at, I just want to work there." What
Or
is
maybe she'll get a movie part and they're going to shoot in the
Oh,
aquarium or something. I don't know.
Nice.
It seems unlikely because she ditched out on the whole movie thing, but I don't know.
Yeah. Like, what is your dream? Because it seemed at the end like she was
Yeah.
like, just, I need to go see my parents, my family, because
Right.
I've been neglecting them for so long.
Failure of a daughter.
Yeah, so that's Aquatope. I'm into, it's probably still a 7 out of 10. There are some parts that it's like, I don't want to say drags, but like not much is happening. But I never really feel that annoyed watching it. It's really pretty, and it's soothing to watch. So I like this list that we just went through. It's like Fena, frustrating to watch in many parts. My hero, frustrating to watch. Kobayashi, the perverted stuff. It's like I guess got to wade through it. But Aquatope, it goes down smooth, even when like nothing much is happening, because everything, like the characters are well established, what they're trying to do. Even now with this new aquarium, it's like it's all kind of low stakes, I suppose, but it's got that slice of life thing with like a hint of drama. So it's like, I don't know, I feel like it's like I just know what I'm in for. It's kind of a coast of a show.
Any sign of the fish head eating god?
Not I don't remember. I don't remember seeing him or her in
Him or
Tingarla.
her?
Yeah,
Could be either.
them.
Yeah.
I don't mean to gender specify.
Huh. Okay. Well, I don't know what that whole subplot. It wasn't even a plot, but like that whole thing. Like if it just ends because she's no longer in Okinawa.
Or maybe
was
Tingarla
the
has
point
their
of
own
it?
little like guardian spirit or
Maybe,
something.
yeah. I don't know.
I mean, clearly, but it didn't do them any good because I mean, I guess they had the strength and maturity to accept what happened with the aquarium closing. But
Well, I mean, they, the god
yes,
thing,
the God thing.
basically brought them together in the first place, right?
Oh, that's true.
So
I
it wasn't really about
more or
saving.
less, yeah.
Wasn't really about saving the aquarium. It was about creating
getting
this
them together.
friendship. I guess.
But they kept showing the God, like every episode, you'd
Yeah,
see it, see them. So it was like, I kept thinking, like you were hinting at, like that, like something more would,
Yeah, and still could be, but
it could, but I'm not sure what, like
I have no idea at this
they
point.
communicate with the God, and the God's like, you are the chosen ones. This is way too late. I wanted to point out in Komi, because there's this whole thing of like that also threw me off near the end of the episode. I think it's also that narrator who's like talking about social anxiety and stuff, but then like does like a left turn and been like, well, that's too bad for Komi. She wants to make 100 friends because little does she know this school is full of freaks, weirdos, loners, and whatever. And and so I was like making it like like almost like a battle, like a shonen-y kind of thing of like, she's gonna have to fight real hard to win over these wackos.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh boy, here we go. I'm not sure what made me think of that, but Aquatope, it's a good show. I like it. 7 out of 10. Rocking it.
These last couple of episodes have been lackluster for me. I haven't watched the beginning of the fall arc, I guess. True. But it sounds like a nice, fresh new beginning, which would be welcome at this point because, like I say, the last couple are just kind of like finalizing some things, wrapping some things up, and it's not real. There's not a lot of emotion. There's not a lot of interest really on my part, I don't think. But,
and I get that. And I was wondering, like, because we knew it was going to be 25 episodes. I was like, how long can this go on? Trying to save this aquarium.
Right,
Like,
right.
I kept thinking it was going to be this yo-yo thing where like it almost closes, but then they get a grant or something, and they're doing well, but then like one of the tanks explodes. I don't know.
Tanks explodes.
Something crazy happens, and then they have to like regroup, and they're in a dire situation. So I'm glad. Yeah, I'm also glad that they're doing like this. It's more of their journey as youth, becoming adults, rather than like just the aquarium itself. But there's just a new aquarium.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well,
There you
that's Aquatope. That's all of the summer stuff that we care to talk about. I still need to finish Remake Our Life. I just haven't gotten back to it. I liked it, but like the plot turn that it took in the last episode I watched kind of lost me a little bit. So I might get back to it. I might not. I don't know. We might cover it in the podcast. We might not. Who knows? We do what we want. You're not the boss of us.
That's right.
Unless you're supporting us on Patreon. And then you are the boss of us. And you can tell us, hey, I want to know what happened in that. And I'll say, I'd be happy to watch the rest of that show for $25.
I think if someone just simply commented on any one of our YouTube videos, even if
That's
it was
true.
like our first one, it was like, do Remake Our Life.
That's true.
Finish it this time. That's all it would take.
Probably true, yeah. It's all probably true. Or, I mean, even if it's not on YouTube, but on like, Twitter or Instagram or, one of those places where you can find us at UmLikeAnime, UMLIKEANIME. Yeah, we'd like to hear from you. We're very sad. We're doing our awards show next week. We put up a bunch of polls on Twitter. We got exactly 0 fucking votes from anyone on the entirety of the fucking internet. So fuck you all. I'm out.
This is a comedic podcast, and we love you all. We realize we have a scant following.
I don't love you. I don't.
As it is.
Fucking hate you.
Anyone who, well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's also an aspect of like, because I stand firmly that I think most people don't keep up on shows
Yeah, I mean, and that's probably true. Like, my friend who is one of our patrons, he hasn't watched any of the shows. So,
Yeah.
And when I asked him I said, "Oh, are you going to vote in the upcoming polls and stuff?" And he's like, "I haven't watched any of them." I was like, "Just vote anyway."
If anything, I feel like people who watch the awards,
But he's busy flying to Portugal or something.
oh, la-di-da.
He's going to hear this. He's going to be so mad at me.
We need to get him on the podcast.
He doesn't watch anything.
Well, he must have watched something. It doesn't have to be new.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I mean, he doesn't watch anything current, I guess. He usually waits for the dubs to come out. He's one of those dub watching while doing other stuff, so not really watching. Playing Hearthstone while listening to a dub.
We all have our, the ways we approach media. I don't disparage it, but
I do.
I do.
If you're not doing it the way I do it, you're doing it wrong. You are a failure and what was the other one?
Neglectful.
You're neglectful of your anime and you are a failure.
Wow. Jesus. But anyway, I was going to say, we're almost done here, but anyone who watches the award show is probably watching it to get some recommendations, because they didn't watch anything. And so look forward to that. We're going to do that next week.
Yeah. And then, let us know what you think. You won't. I know you won't.
Well, then if you don't watch anything after the award show, there's no hope for you.
Yeah, you should just stop watching anime. Just hang it up. Hang up your weeaboo hat. I'm done with it. I'm going to go back to watching John Wick.
I don't think you can erase it. It's indelible. All right.
It was a very negative ending, wasn't it?
I mean,
it was mostly me being negative.
Well, I was negative about all the shows, but then you were negative about our audience.
I mean, I was negative about most of the shows too. So,
but I was literally negative about all of them. Well, not Aquatope. Not Aquatope. The rest, but yeah.
I mean, you weren't in love with Komi, but you didn't like. What did you give Komi? Like out of 10?
I don't know. I mean, I guess I go a 6.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
The
Like
one,
it's, it's not spectacular or anything, but it's
just a start too.
yeah.
Fena was the one that I haven't rated yet,
Uh,
and I don't think it deserves
I
a
don't-
6.
yeah, no, I'm pretty sure I gave it a 5 when I dropped it, but
Yeah,
I mean, it sounds like if I'd kept watching it, it probably could have gone lower. So
I get real. The lower gets tricky for me because I'm just like, I wouldn't have finished it if it was a 3. You know.
right, yeah, and that's sort of where I'm at. You know,
Yeah.
like it hits a 5, and it's like sitting there
it's
at a 5
fine.
for a while, and it's like 5's not fine, 6 is fine, 5 is like
It did really anger me.
5 is meh. It's just like
I might have to give it a 4.
yeah. I like I say, if I had watched more, I might also be, you know,
Could be.
it's hard to get to a 3 unless like your first episode is just like bad.
Yeah.
Like that's about the only way you get a
Just
3.
like, why did I even watch this?
Right. I watch one episode and I'm just angry that they made it and that I watched it. Yeah. I don't know. We're just yammering on now.
Well, tune in next week
we
where
already
we'll
did the
be super
outro.
positive about most things in our awards, Summer 2021 awards.
I make no promises to be positive about anything.
There are categories that are specifically positive. Best.
That's true.
The best thing. There's some worst. There
I
are
mean,
some worsts.
All right, it's fine. I was just going to say the best of summer 2021 isn't necessarily a positive. It's just better than the rest of the trash that we had to watch.
All right.
But not true. There are good shows from summer 2020. Well, there's one anyway. And
Yes.
it's the best show.
Your trash will maybe become our treasure next week. So tune in. We love you guys. We really do.
I don't.